Now the conference is tied up. The British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson's given it about 6 out of 10, just above that in terms of success. What score would you give it?
I think that most activists, and I think everyday folks who care about climate change and our planet, would give it perhaps a 1 or 2 out of 10 best.
Why 1 when, as Prime Minister Boris Johnson said, this signals the death knell for coal, and that is a huge step forward?
Unfortunately, signaling the death knell, you reported it, because of pushback from India and other countries. Instead of phasing out coal, the agreement says phase down. There are no commitments to phase out coal, and it's very unfortunate.
OK, I mean, what would you want to happen? Because a lot of the activists are saying we're going to have this conversation in, another 12 months' time, start again. Do you think we could actually improve on 1 out of 10?
I think we have to. I think that our very lives depend upon it. The other, bright spot is that the agreement said that countries must strengthen their nationally determined contributions, what they agreed to at Paris, by the end of next year. That's a bit of a bright spot because that's earlier than they would have had to strengthen those commitments than before. However, the Paris Agreement commitments do not get us to that 1.5 degrees C temperature limit that we know we must keep to in order to avoid catastrophic climate change. The Paris Agreement commitments take us over that already. So we're in deep trouble. We've been in deep trouble for years, and strengthening the commitments by next year is a hopeful step, but is not the step that I think most climate activists and scientists wanted to see.
The view seems to be that China and India need to look at themselves and ask themselves some tough questions. I mean, what would you say to them?
This, I think, gets to the point of why climate justice is so important. We know that the United States is historically the largest committer, the one who has done the most to contribute to climate change, while we know that China is now, and India are now the highest emitters. And so this piece about climate justice, this piece about helping poorer countries make the transition, helping poorer countries with loss and damage for historic loss, is really important because India is saying, how can we phase out coal when we have development concerns? And while it's urgent that they do, they have a point.
The COP president said China and India are going to have to explain themselves, the most climate vulnerable countries in the world. They know that this is deeply unpopular, but they're not going to be persuaded, it seems.
It's not something it's clearly problematic. China, India, the United States, the world needs to come together on climate. I don't think that it's any one nation's fault. It's a failure of humanity to come together in an emergent crisis where we need our leaders to show up and act on climate urgently now, and they have failed us.
Albie, it's very good to see you, and thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.